Tonight, history made. South Australia becomes the first state in the country to establish a First Nations voice to Parliament. But what does it mean for the Spencer Gulf? And a red sweep sees Far West residents with a new premier. But the same MP for the district of Barwon, Roy Butler, retaining his seat.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Our part of the country has made history, with the South Australian Indigenous voice to Parliament passing state parliament and receiving royal assent by the Governor. Yesterday, celebrations erupted outside Parliament steps as the focus now shifts to when the elections will take place.
The moment history was made, not just for South Australia, but for Aboriginal history, as Governor Francis Adamson signed into law the SA Voice to Parliament. Thousands turned up to Parliament to witness the momentous occasion.
Absolutely blown away with the amount of people that were sitting there on chairs and also standing there. In actual fact, I would think it's very close to the amount of people that came to see the King came into power in the UK.
No more powerful deeds than South Australia becoming the first place in our nation to pass a law enshrining an Indigenous voice to our Parliament.
The bill was passed with no alterations or objections. The Premier says a diverse range of opinions is expected from the voice, as well as teething problems at the start.
And we shouldn't expect that it will all be easy, or that we'll like everything that we hear, or that the Parliament will agree with everything the voice has to say. But this is nothing to fear.
The SA Voice to Parliament will allow members of the Indigenous community to directly address Parliament and ministers, as well as give advice on legislation that directly affects Indigenous people.
But that doesn't mean to say that they've got carte blanche about the whole lot. What will happen is that they'll be able to have some say into it, put submissions into the Parliament or to instigate the bill.
Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Roy Butler has retained the seat of Barwon in the New South Wales state election. The overall result seeing Labor take our top position, with new Premier Chris Minns cementing the mainland in a red sweep.
Lining up to cast their votes. Broken Hill locals took to the polling booths on Saturday, the results of which are still being counted. But one thing is for sure, the electorate of Barwon has been claimed. Independent Roy Butler holding on to the seat he's held since 2019.
With the Labor government, it's really good that we have an independent that has been elected. It means that he'll be able to work with the Labor government as opposed to having an opposition member.
Mayor Kennedy remaining hopeful Mr Butler will continue to provide for the Far West.
Broken Hill City Council has a good relationship with the local member. We also have a really good relationship with the Labor, now Labor government. We were friendly beforehand when they were in opposition.
Overall, not much changes for the Silver City.
The Labor government knows a lot of what we have planned in Broken Hill because we've always sent off correspondence to the shadow ministers whenever we're dealing with anything, so they're fully aware of what's going on in Broken Hill anyway.
With Chris Minns declaring victory, it means all of mainland Australia is now Labor. A water advocate, Mayor Tom Kennedy would like to see the new government hold an inquiry into the fish deaths in Menindee.
I'd hope that the Labor government gets down to it straight away, promises an inquiry and gets to the bottom of why those fish kills happen. It's not a usual phenomena.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Antisocial behaviour is making it difficult for authorities to reduce the amount of lead exposure in Port Pirie West. A section of Frederick Street has now been cordoned off to deter vandals and to protect the public.
The demolition of houses north of Frederick Road is nearing completion, and now it's time to get to the root of the problem.
Flatten out the soil where the houses used to be, and then we're going to work with between Renewal SA and TLAP, the Targeted Abatement Program, to hydromulch the bare areas of soil.
The ground will then be covered with seed, and hopefully with the autumn rain we'll see grass grow where the houses used to be. While this is happening, there will be more dust from the ground than usual, leaving council to issue a warning to stay away.
There is no real reason for the general public to go up there. So we are looking at how we can close off the roads to protect the area and restrict access to the area.
Unfortunately, some people haven't got the message. The abandoned area is often subject to antisocial behaviour and illegal dumping.
People need to be patient with us and keep out of the way of working, but illegal dumping is just something that affects all of your community. Like, whilst you do that, you think you're getting away with it, but someone else in the community is actually paying for your divisiveness.
The area is officially closed off for at least 30 days through the Local Government Act while Council investigates a long-term plan for the area. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln locals host a special market day for thousands of tourists on board the Majestic Princess. And how's this for a seafood festival location? Port Broughton puts it on for the ultimate golf to plate experience. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's first vintage market was held yesterday, coinciding with the other markets to welcome hordes of tourists into town. The Majestic Princess is one of the biggest cruise ships to ever dock in the city, with just shy of 5,000 people on board.
Everything old is new again in Port Lincoln, with locals showcasing their best bits, from clothing to artwork and plants to records. Little J's Vintage Markets had a bit of everything.
I am from Brisbane and I run markets in Brizzy. However, I'm a new Port Lincolnite, whatever you want to call it, and I thought I'd put them on here.
Jackie Cowan was inspired to do something about her bulging wardrobe without them going to waste.
I just had a plethora of clothes.
Two of her favourite items include Speedo togs estimated to be from the 60s and an orange coat she describes as a swaggy number.
It's really nice to see it go to a new exciting home, and also sustainability. So much stuff goes into landfill and which is quite scary. So if I can attempt in helping with that, then yeah.
The vintage markets coinciding with the arrival of thousands of cruise ship passengers.
I planned this because I knew that there'd be a lot going on and different markets throughout the city, so it's good to all work together and show people what we're made of. It's awesome.
Another local taking advantage of the population influx was artist Shania Richards.
Everything here is a part of my art therapy that I do for my mental health, PTSD, anxiety and depression.
Her artwork is inspired by her family and everything she goes through.
In moments where I'm feeling suicidal, I would have to do something with art to kind of tell myself, no, there's a reason to live and find that will to survive.
She hopes that by sharing her art, she can pass that will to keep going on to others.
People walking up, oh, what's this? Or is there a story behind this? And breaking that barrier down from that stigma and taboo of you're not alone, we're a community, we're here together and we are here willing to support.
And she wants to leave people with a message.
No matter what you want to do in life, you should do it, and that there are people willing to support, and that no matter what you go through in life, there are people willing to listen and understand. So never be ashamed to put yourself out there.
Some vintage clothes and some great advice. What a market. Alison Hall, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And if you or someone you know is struggling with their mental health, help is available. You can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 or visit lifeline.org.au. Locals and tourists flocked to the Port Broughton foreshore over the weekend to indulge in some of the world's best seafood and have a dance to some live music. Unsurprisingly to organisers, the sold-out Seafood on Spencer event has been deemed a massive success.
After years of restrictions, Seafood on Spencer has returned bigger and better than ever.
It's been years in the making. So the first event we were supposed to have was 2020, which obviously got cancelled due to COVID. So we put 3 years in to hold our inaugural festival last year, and this is year 2.
The weather was perfect for a picnic on the foreshore and exploring local businesses with a cold drink in hand. And foodies were in their element.
Some really popular chefs, but not only are they popular, they're super experienced, and their commitment to sustainability and supporting local.
Sustainability was a major theme at this year's event, with organisers speaking transparently about South Australia's regulations and access to seafood.
And it's all about showcasing that and the processes involved in catching it, so getting it direct from Gulf to plate.
If you missed out this year, don't fret, as it isn't going anywhere.
We would just like to expand and grow, and we really want to have this as the event of the year in Port Broughton, to be quite honest.
And by the looks of this year's turnout, it looks like that might be the case.
We have had overwhelmingly positive feedback. As you can see, the vibe is amazing. Everyone's having a fantastic day. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves.
Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A potentially deadly disease recorded in rural South Australia. And from Tex Walker to Connor Rosie, how our Spencer Golf products fared in round 2 of the AFL. That's next. Welcome back. A 24-year-old man has been diagnosed and since recovered from invasive meningococcal disease in rural South Australia. SA Health put out an alert yesterday saying a patient presented to hospital in the early stages of the illness and received treatment promptly. 3 close contacts have been identified and directed to take antibiotics. Symptoms of meningococcal disease can include headaches, fever, vomiting, neck stiffness and discomfort when looking at lights. Sufferers can also develop a skin rash characterised by tiny red and purple spots that soon spread and enlarge to look like bruises. While children may experience difficulty waking up, refusal to eat, leg pain, cold hands and feet, and a high-pitched cry or moaning sound. Meanwhile, a 3-year-old boy has been diagnosed with measles in Murray Bridge. It's believed the child picked it up while travelling overseas. It's the first case of measles in the state since 2019. Round 2 of the AFL wasn't a great time for our local products. Despite Taylor Walker's best effort, the Crows went down to Richmond, while Port lost all power against Collingwood, getting walloped by over 10 goals.
Taking on Richmond and Dusty Martin is no easy feat, but Adelaide took their opponents on early with the first goal. Broken Hill's Taylor Walker edged the Crows closer with a snap goal at the end of the third quarter and this spectacular mark in the fourth.
Searching ball, pocket Walker. Great early body work from Taylor Walker. Sonny's eyes, the little man on the shoulder. He stares him down and puts it through.
Despite narrowing the score gap to just 1 point, it wasn't enough as the Tigers roared ahead, Adelaide going down by 32 points at game's end.
Self-inflicted, wasn't it? It was, it was quite painful. I think we're all extremely frustrated now. When you're under pressure, there's a certain way you need to play, and we had 9 goals in a row kicked against us today.
Meanwhile, power went up against the Pies, with Collingwood etching their flag credentials with 9 goals in a row.
Sort of lessened by a quality team, but absolutely no excuse for the inconsistency that we showed from last week to this week.
Port Augusta's Connor Rosie had to be escorted off the field for a concussion test after a nasty knock, but has been given the all clear. At final siren, Collingwood took the lopsided victory by 71 points, 21 goals, 9 behinds, to Port's 9 goals, 10 behinds, leaving a lot to be desired. But it could have been a lot worse. Spare a thought for Hawthorn, who were ripped apart by Sydney in their worst defeat against the Swans, a loss by a shocking 81 points. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Goodness me, that is rough. But stay with us after the break, all over for another season. Port Lincoln cricketers declare their 2023 champs. And it's looking like a wet week ahead. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. The cricket season has come to a close with the Port Lincoln Cricket Association holding its grand final over the weekend. In the A grade, Southern Air South and Tasman fought it out for the right to be called premiers. Joshua Mercer has this week's cricket wrap.
Southern Air South are the 2023 Port Lincoln Cricket Association champions after a big win against Tasman on Saturday. Southern Air won the toss and elected to bat first. Opening batsman Liam O'Day getting South off to a great start. O'Day would go on to top score for his side with 101 runs, before getting bowled out by Bodie Fazer. Fellow opener Ben Smith helped his side by putting 31 runs on the board. However, he was also dismissed by Fazer by LBW. Cooper Lewin, Roger Puckridge and Ryan Siebert all had short stints at the crease, with Lewin scoring 5, Puckridge scoring 12 and Siebert 0 runs. Hamish Rosell stepped up and was able to add to South's total of 211 runs, with 30 not out. Bodie Fazer was Tasman's best with the ball, taking 6 wickets for 34 runs, while teammate Tyson Collins took 2 for 11. Fazer opened the batting for his side, but was dismissed for 10 runs. His opening partner, Jackson Smith, was the next wicket to fall, bowled out by South's Will Charlton. James Stockham and Jaden Jude tried valiantly to get their side back in the game, but only managed 13 and 15 runs respectively. Brent Harris came to the crease to right the ship and made 30 runs before being bowled by Ben Smith, ending hope of a Tasman win. Will Charlton took 3 for 16, while Liam O'Day and Ryan Siebert both took 2 wickets each. In the Northern Areas Cricket Association Grand Final, Sporting defeated Pekina Carrington Cricket Club by 82 runs. Sporting captain Alex Morgan led from the front, top scoring with 32 runs, while Benjamin Whalen also contributed to the win with 27 runs. Luke Bowman was Pekina's best with the ball, taking 3 wickets for 16 runs, while Paul Pitkin and Will Bowman both took 2 wickets each. That was a cracking summer of cricket in our region. Let's hope the footy season is the same.
I'm sure it will be, Josh. Thank you. But it's time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, it's been a soggy start to the working week.
It was, Maddie, especially in Port Pirie, Clare and Coltana. The Defence Training Area recorded around 10 millimetres today, the majority of which fell around 11 a.m. Clare wasn't far behind, recording just shy of 9 millimetres by mid-afternoon. Port Pirie also saw some rainfall into the afternoon, around 8 millimetres. Temperature-wise, Port Augusta reached 24 degrees just before 4 p.m, not much warmer than the overnight low of 21.5. The Steel City also saw some rain, while recording 23 degrees mid-afternoon, under 30 in Cooper Pedy, recording 29.3 degrees just before 3 o'clock. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, Broken Hill recorded 31 degrees today, 21 in Kadina, 22 the top in both Port Pirie and the capital. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a trough over the south and west of the state will move into the northeast tomorrow, then clear. An upper level trough will move across the south late Tuesday before a ridge of high pressure extends over the state midweek. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southeast to southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming a variable about 10 knots before turning northwest to southwesterly 15 to 20 knots. Seas around a metre, and south to southwesterly swell below a metre, increasing to 1.5 metres. Looking at tomorrow's temperatures now, a shower or two and set to reach a high of 24 degrees in Port Lincoln. Partly cloudy, top of 25 on the way for both Cleve and Woodner. Partly cloudy in Whyalla tomorrow as well, between 17 and 26 degrees. Port Augusta will have a cloud or two, 28 there. Showers forecast for Kadina, 25 degrees. Showers around Port Pirie as well, down to 17 tonight, 26 tomorrow, 22 and rainy in Clare, and possible storms in Broken Hill on Tuesday, between 18 and 28 degrees and up to 2 millimetres of rain. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Wednesday's weather map. Partly cloudy conditions from Whyalla up On the Eyre Peninsula side, temperatures between 22 and 25 degrees. Possible showers for Port Lincoln, Kadina and Port Pirie between 22 and 24 degrees. Moving on to Thursday's forecast now. Possible showers in Cooper Pedy 24, sunny in Broken Hill, heading for a top of 23 degrees there. 23 in Woodner, Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Kadina as well. Partly cloudy in those areas. And finally, taking our first glance at how Friday is looking. Possible showers still hanging around Port Lincoln, Adelaide and Cooper Pedy. Partly cloudy everywhere else, temperatures between 20 and 24 degrees. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later with an update. It's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later. But until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.